How would you like to buy a custom-built home in Seattle for under 50 grand? Kai Schwarz is the guy to talk to. Kai is the founder and CEO of ShelterKraft, spelled with a K, ShelterKraft, a company that builds nice, livable spaces with all the modern comforts, but they make them out of shipping containers. Of course, starting around 35 and going up from there, you're going to have to provide your own land. The square footage will be a limited deal, but the units that Kai builds were featured in a Seattle Times article recently. They're comfortable. They're filled with quality materials. They're very environmentally friendly for lots of reasons. If you'd like photos and more info on these very cool homes, follow the link on bobrivers.com. And Kai Schwarz, are you the CEO and owner and chief shipping container? I mean, you're the visionary and architect behind all of this, right?
Yeah, I'm half the equation. I'm the architect, the builder, the designer, and all that. And then my business partner, and is the marketing
guy.
Yeah,
okay.
person.
Well, thanks for being with us, first of all.
Thank you for having me. I
I
appreciate it.
find this incredibly fascinating. That shipping containers and shipping containers have a certain shelf life, right? At some point, they have to be retired.
Yeah, generally it's about 10 to 12 years, depending on how they're being used and how many dings and that sort of thing they endure.
And why do they retire them? It seems like they're indestructible.
Well, they have to meet very strict structural and weather and those kind of requirements by the shipping companies, the rail companies. And at some point, it's kind of like having an old car. It's easier to buy a new one than
it is to refurbish it. Okay.
Exactly.
So, you where do you get these shipping containers? I guess you just look down in the harbor and there they are. But.
Well, I'd love to go down there and just pick up my own, but I have we have a very solid relationship with a company that actually maintains the shipping containers for the shipping industry, and then they take the surplus containers when they've reached the end of their life. And it's a lot easier for a lot of these shipping companies to dispose of those containers here on the West Coast instead of bring them back to their point of origin in Asia. It costs about $2,000 or $3,000 to ship an empty container.
Get it back.
Wow.
And you can
right. And because we have a trade deficit, the empty container ends up here.
Exactly.
It's like a nickel on a Coke bottle, but really bigger.
They'll just about
That's right.
They'll just about give them to you to get them off the dock.
Not quite that, but and we're very selective also about the ones that we choose to build into houses. So
Right.
we pay a little bit more than you'd see in Craigslist.
Because these things have their history is documented. You know what's been in these containers.
Yeah,
for the
every
most
one of
part,
them
right?
has essentially a customs declaration or a VIN number.
That shows everywhere it's been in the world?
Yeah, exactly.
Does
And
anybody
what's
in
been
the
in it?
house put up like a map with the
I'm trying very hard because the customs department has records, the shipping company has records. Depending on who actually owns the container, that information is in a bunch of different databases, and I'm working with my container supplier right now to access that.
Now, the Seattle Times has an article about you that shows these homes. They're beautiful. When you think an RV, those things, they look kind of flimsy to me.
Yeah, they're essentially cardboard with
Basically,
aluminum
yeah,
siding.
and I'd hate to swerve and poof, that'd be the end of the RV. But these things are super solid. I wonder, you could even take one, put it in the ground, and put a round door on it, and it'd be your own little hobbit hole, couldn't you?
You can't really bury them for several different reasons. Structurally, they're very strong when you stack them on the ships and load them with cargo, but the dirt against the sidewalls and
So
the
you'd
roof,
have to reinforce it.
You essentially need to reinforce it with concrete, and if you're doing that anyway,
At that point,
it's easier just to build a concrete foam.
So, and these would be considered a contemporary structure. Who would buy these? Where are they going to the most? Do people who want land and go out into the country and have 5 acres put one of these on it and they have a home?
We're getting approached by, and we're sort of gearing our company in a bunch of different markets. Certainly, as weekend getaway cottages, that's a big.
Buy some vacation land.
Yep.
Throw one of these on there for 35 or 50 grand, and boom, you have instant home and shelter.
Exactly. Yeah, and we put all the cutouts for the windows and doors. We make security shutters, so you can basically lock the thing up.
No one's going to break into your hunting
It's
cottage.
bear-proof. It's
.com. You should get that.
Right. .com.
Right.
Wow.
And then the other big market for us right now also is the city of Seattle and Portland and a few other cities have changed some zoning laws recently to allow accessory dwellings.
Now, do you live in one of these too? Like a hair club for men guy would also have hair
He
weave?
lives in a big freaking mansion.
Yeah, he should be in a big mansion, but he should have one of these to to show.
Because we're a startup right now, I'm both Ann and I are living very frugally.
Ann is your partner.
Ann is my partner.
And is she your is it wife a partner or a friend partner?
Friend, but we're incorporated.
I don't need to know the details.
We're incorporated, so
Friend
we're
with
actually,
benefits partner. Can we at least go there?
It's we're not married, but we're incorporated, so it's actually more difficult to
worse.
get out of a corporate relationship
Than an actual marriage. Yeah.
But no, she's wonderful. I wouldn't have. There's no way I could start this company without
Okay,
her.
she's the marketing behind it, and you're the architect. And tell me about you as an architect. An architect, at least architects I've known, dream of building mega waterfront, gorgeous homes that get on the covers of magazines.
Right.
And they don't appreciate. I don't say they don't appreciate, because an architect is also about simplicity and excellent use of space. But an architect who dreams of doing something usually dreams of doing something big. Why did you dream small?
Honestly, I dreamt small in a big way. Let's say, because I see so many different applications, not just with houses. I know it's a dirty word here in Seattle, but the apartment, micro apartment living,
Like Japan.
like Japan. Actually, we've been approached by both the Brazilians and some Chinese folks that would like us to build some apartment.
You called it
buildings
a podment? That's the term?
That's the brand name for a micro.
Okay.
That's what Ann
micro
came
apartment.
up with. It's going to be
Apartment.
trademark
No,
and
it's,
copyright.
no, and it's not.
Oh.
There's actually a company here
There's a
in,
company-
in Seattle that does
Apartments.
like 200-300 square foot apartments with communal kitchens
Oh,
for a
wow.
higher density kind of living situation and very affordable.
Wow.
For,
So
you know-
you could own something without having to, go crazy in debt.
Own something with solar power, wind power, gas stove, gas heat, composting toilet, rainwater catchment, gray water reclamation, and green roof. How Seattle is this?
Wow. Are you required not to shave your
I actually
armpits
just
in order to
turned
own this?
myself on.
It's optional.
You are a little warm.
I'm sexually aroused now.
Yeah.
After saying all that.
Is
Well, that's pretty neat stuff.
Are
Yeah.
there showroom? Because there's someplace we can go see and walk through one of these
We
things?
we
or-
have a 20-foot prototype model that's on display in Ballard. We're just off of Shields.
Ballard, of course. Fremont.
We're
Yeah.
actually in a shipyard in Ballard.
The
so I
center
feel,
of the
I
universe.
feel very home.
Well, it's close
at home
enough to
there.
Fremont that
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
walk there with bare feet if you
Wow.
need to. Wow, that's fascinating. All right. Now, part of also why you do this is because you're a boater. Haven't you sailed the world?
Yeah, first of all, my dad was a naval architect, so I'm used to seeing aircraft carriers on wooden blocks on the beach with propellers as big as 3-story houses. So I've grown up around the water, and I've developed a real passion for mostly for long-distance sailing. And I'm used to small, confined spaces, but I have the luxury of stepping outside and having horizon to horizon.
Horizon. So in other words, nature is your square footage.
Basically.
Yeah. And all you need is a place to crawl into and sleep and be secure and comfortable.
So when anybody asks, well, it seems a little small for us. I'm not sure if we're into it. He just says, well, just step outside and look around.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Ann's job.
Well, one of our catchphrases is small places in grand places. Small spaces in grand places. Sorry.
Very nice. And so there's the market, the communal type market. There's the people out in say Black Diamond or Puyallup who have some acreage, but want to live simply. There's hunting people out in Eastern Washington.
And there's also people that want. I mean, more and more people are working at home, and they'd like to step out of their house, away from the washing machine and
Home office
and
kind of
stuff,
thing?
so we can have a backyard home office.
Does anybody put
studio.
these? Yeah. Does anybody put these on, say, out in the beautiful areas and then rent them out?
Not yet, but it has a high potential for that.
Got a hillside somewhere? Drop one of these on it? Oh,
Yeah, we're actually talking to a set of folks here in the Seattle area that would like to build a portable motel for things like Burning Man, music festivals, that sort of thing, where there's 20, 30.
When you know there's going to be a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go to the gorge, stack like 100 of these and just stay there
Well,
instead
you
of a
say
tent.
that as a joke, but Cave Be Inn, one of my favorite places right adjacent to the gorge, had only a couple of places that you could stay, and there was always overwhelming requests. So what did? They put up 30 yurts.
Right. What happened to these shipping containers before you came along? Did they bury them?
No, not
Is there a place in Roswell, New Mexico, where there's a mountain that used to be these?
quite a few of them are used. Like, you'll see them on construction sites for storage.
Yeah.
Farmers are using them for feed storage and tack rooms and things like that. So
You mentioned zoning, that Seattle is becoming more friendly to this idea and stuff. I live in Bellevue, and I was talking to my wife. I said, we've got this kind of dead space on the side of our house that one of these would fit perfectly, and it would be an office or whatever. But in Bellevue, I can't even have a blue tarp, so I doubt they're going to let me have a blue shipping container or any other thing. Do you know
Well, you
what
could
the,
paint it, Joe.
Do you know what the zoning is?
You could paint it
for that
Bellevue
sort of thing?
beige.
There
Just
you
paint
go.
it Bellevue
Yeah.
beige.
Sage.
unless there's some specific covenants in your neighborhood to
No,
to
there's not. We don't have that.
I mean, we paint them. There's no rust. There's it looks like a corrugated metal house. We put wooden roofs on them if you like,
Yeah.
and
Joe.
they blend right in.
I just thought of it. For Ann, too. Man cave extraordinary.
No, we've
Yeah.
had a few requests for that for gamers, for musicians, as mini studios.
Musicians
room?
can practice in there and nobody can hear them.
Yeah, I can sound.
And if you're a bad musician, that's a bonus to your whole family.
Ann's an opera singer, right? Is
Yes,
that I
she
read?
is. Yeah,
How
semi-professional.
soundproof are these?
When you shut the doors, I mean they're weather tight. So yeah.
Very cool stuff. All right. If someone wants to find out more, the website?
ShelterKraft.com.
ShelterKraft with a K.com. And, of course, we'll link to it at BobRivers.com. Kai Schwarz, thank you very much. Fascinating.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.